Hi, it's Congresswoman Jan Schakowsky, and I'm back with my plans and pans. Well, just this last Thursday, the United States reached the debt ceiling. Lest you misinterpret what that means, it means that we need now to pay our bills. These are debts that have already been incurred, and now we need to pay what we owe. Actually, it's in the Constitution that we can't expose the United States of America to not fulfilling our promise to pay our debts. Now, most countries in the world actually don't even have a policy of having to vote on that. But the United States, we do, and for many years we've just pretty much automatically raised the debt ceiling so that we can continue to fund the things that we need in our country. But it's the Republicans now that are in charge of the House of Representatives, are using it as leverage to try and reduce funding going forward. To say, well, we're not going to agree to pay our debts, to meet the debt ceiling, unless we get certain concessions. And we're going to see when we go back to the session of Congress exactly what they're going to be trying to get. If, by the way, we were not to pay those debts, and right now Janet Yellen, who's the Secretary of the Treasury, is trying to extend as far as possible, reducing some things here and there to be able to add a couple of weeks or months to the time where we actually hit the wall. But if we were not to pay our debts, then actually the government really shuts down and Social Security payments and veterans payments don't go out. And what we may hear from the Republicans is, yes, we'll make sure that we pay our debts, but only if we get concessions in lowering how much we pay for Social Security and Medicare and other important things for Americans. So this is going to, I think, be the big news in the week to come. So watch for it. This week in Illinois, Planned Parenthood in Peoria was attacked. It was an arson attack. No one, fortunately, was hurt, neither staff or patients. But this is not untypical. And as we now face the 50th year anniversary of Roe v. Wade, what we have seen through the history have been these kinds of attacks. However, last week, I mentioned to you that there was a bill that passed the House that said that what we had to stop was the attacks, the violence against what are called crisis pregnancy centers. These are not places that perform abortions, but rather try to talk women out of it, and to some churches that have had some attacks. So I went to the floor and said, I'm against all violence, not just violence against places like that, certainly not churches and other agencies, but making the point that the most violence has been against places and providers who provide for abortion rights and to maintain our rights. Our hearts and feelings are with all the people in Peoria who experienced this attack. Also, of course, this was the week of the Martin Luther King memorials and celebrations, again, where there's still lots of work to do. And I went to two Chicago celebrations, one that Mayor Lightfoot had and the other that Reverend Jesse Jackson, who has done it for many, many, many years to help push Excel. This is a program that helps youth and youth programs. Jonathan Jackson, my new colleague, made the keynote speech, a very, very impressive speech recalling the history that has led us to this day and showing us that, yes, we do have more work to do. As many of you know, the 9th Congressional District is widely expanded. And I hope some of you from McHenry or Lake County may be listening. I'm going to try and get more of you to participate and get acquainted with me as the Congresswoman of your 9th Congressional District. But I've been trying to reach out, and this week I went to visit in McHenry County. I went to the Three Oaks Elementary School in Cary, Illinois, and it was amazing. I met with the fifth graders. It's a grammar school only up to fifth grade, so these are kind of the seniors at the school that were doing this incredible technology class. And they are doing coding. They know more, I assure you, about technology, unfortunately, than I do, and are learning from the beginning, all the ins and outs. And that class is held all the way down to, I'm not sure about kindergarten, but certainly the first graders up to the fifth graders, knowing more and more about the technology and how they can use it and expand it for themselves. And then I had the pleasure of going to the Crystal Lake South High School and speaking to a class of students that is interested in politics and policy. Wonderful, amazing questions. I always get that at the schools. These kids are so smart and with it. And was able to talk to some of the students that are interested in getting more involved in policy, perhaps as a career. So that was a wonderful visit. And then I went to the mayor of Cary to introduce myself to him and tell him how interested I was in meeting more constituents and being helpful and touting our constituent service and saying that if any of the people in your community need help, we can help when it comes to federal issues, and be sure and send them our way. So we had a wonderful, wonderful visit. I've been all over the district because this is what they call district work period. I went to an event for an organization that is so dear to my heart. It's called Family Focus. It was founded by a great mentor of mine and a visionary when it comes to early childhood education and the importance of families. So Bernice Weisbord, who would have celebrated her 100th birthday, she died just short of 100, and this was a 100th birthday celebration. She and Dolores Holmes, who was an alderman here in Evanston and a great friend of Bernice, founded Family Focus, and they do amazing work in a number of different centers around the Chicago area for children. And I was able to announce that through the community project funding, I was able to get just over $1 million for Family Focus, Our Place, it's called, here in Evanston. It's going to be able to renovate a space that is so used and so important for the kids in Evanston and surrounding areas. I also had the opportunity to meet with Secretary of State Tony Blinken. He was at the University of Chicago at the Institute of Policy and Politics, talking to mostly students that were in a pretty large audience and being interviewed by my good friend David Axelrod. Afterwards, he took some time to meet with a few Illinois members of Congress. So it was a nice opportunity to see him in person. Another wonderful event that happened during the week was conducted by the Ismaili Center for the Midwest. They did a wonderful tribute to Jesse White. You know, he just left being the Secretary of State since 1999, for a long time, but I actually got to serve with Jesse White before that because he was in the state legislature for quite a while when I was too, and he was someone who was a good friend and someone I admired very much. Jesse White was honored for all of his long years and the variety of service that he has given not only to the state of Illinois, but to our country. We saw this incredible video of the great life of Jesse White, and it wasn't easy growing up as an inspiring African American during the years that he was a younger person. but he has always been a positive figure, and he spread that positive attitude to so many children through the Jessie White tumblers. Literally thousands and thousands of young people who joined the Jessie White tumblers, who performed all over not only the country but all over the world at many festivals, and developed an attitude of excellence and achievement and a kind of I will spirit. Jessie White's motto was, do something good for someone every day. So it was a nice celebration, and the Ismaili Center is a beautiful place within the 9th Congressional District. Closing, I want to say to all of you a happy Lunar New Year. We'll be saying goodbye to the year of the tiger and happy new year of the rabbit. So next week, I'm going to be going to a number of Lunar New Year celebrations, and I hope to see all of you next week. Thanks. Thank you for watching my video. Make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, where my handle is @Jan Schakowsky.